In January 2022, JP Morgan Chase sent a simple marketing email. Nothing complicated, just a message to 400,000 students who supposedly used a financial app called Frank. Within hours, the results came back, and something was very wrong. More than 70% of the emails bounced. They weren't just unread, they didn't exist. Of the tiny fraction that did land, almost none were opened. A normal campaign like this should see 15 to 20% of people open the email. JP Morgan was staring at just over 1%. The bank had paid $175 million for this list of users 4 months earlier. Now it looked like most of those users were never real at all. This wasn't a small regional lender that got fooled. This was JP Morgan Chase, a bank managing more than $3 trillion, with teams of lawyers, risk managers, and financial analysts, whose entire job was to catch exactly this kind of deception before signing a check. How does an institution like that end up buying millions of people who don't exist? The answer starts 2 years earlier, with a 29-year-old founder everyone believed was a genius. Charlie Javice built her reputation early. She grew up in Westchester County, New York, and started a microfinance platform called PowerUp, while still a student at Wharton, one of the most respected business schools in the world. In 2016, she founded Frank, a startup meant to simplify the FAFSA, the notoriously confusing US financial aid form every college student has to fill out. The idea was simple and useful. Fill out one form faster, save time, save stress. By 2019, Javice had landed on Forbes' 30 Under 30 list, the kind of recognition that turns a founder into a celebrity. Magazines loved her story. Investors loved her confidence. But there was a warning sign most people missed. In 2018, the US Department of Education had already flagged Frank for misleading students, letting them believe the site was affiliated with the government when it wasn't. It barely made headlines. Nobody connected it to what was coming. Because by 2021, Javice had her sights set on the biggest deal of her life, and the buyer she found was hungry for exactly what she was selling. JP Morgan Chase managed over $3 trillion in assets. It was the most profitable bank in America. But it had a problem. Young people weren't opening bank accounts with JP Morgan. They were choosing sleek Fintech apps like Chime and SoFi instead. CEO Jamie Dimon pushed his teams hard to close that gap, telling executives to go out and acquire Fintech companies before competitors ate their lunch. Buying young customers one at a time through advertising was expensive, often hundreds of dollars per person, a cost bankers call customer acquisition cost. Javice offered something that looked like a shortcut. Frank, she claimed, had 4.25 million registered student users. If JP Morgan bought the company for $175 million, that worked out to roughly $40 per customer, a fraction of what it normally cost the bank to win one young client. A bargain, if it were true. JP Morgan's team began due diligence, the financial version of a home inspection before buying a house. They asked for the real, row-by-row data behind that 4.25 million number. That request is where everything started to unravel. Frank actually had fewer than 300,000 real users, not 4.25 million, just a fraction of that number. When JP Morgan asked to see the full customer list, Javice didn't hand it over. Instead, she said she couldn't, citing student privacy laws. It bought her time. Behind the scenes, she allegedly hired a data science professor for $18,000 to do something audacious: generate roughly 4 million fake customer profiles. The method was simple. Take real first names, real last names, mix in synthetic addresses and invented emails, and produce a list that looked, on the surface, like millions of genuine people. Meanwhile, Frank's chief growth officer, Olivier Amar, allegedly paid $105,000 to a data broker called ASL Marketing for a real list of 4.5 million college students, just in case anyone needed proof the data was legitimate. JP Morgan's analysts did spot-check the file they received, but because the fake entries used realistic formats, they passed a basic visual review. A few engineers reportedly noticed the numbers looked strange, too clean, too uniform for a real database built over years. Nobody thought to check simple outside tools, like web traffic trackers, that would have shown Frank's actual website never came close to attracting millions of active users. Their concerns didn't stop the deal. In September 2021, JP Morgan closed the acquisition. Javice walked away with about $21 million in cash and a new title, Managing Director, with a $20 million retention bonus waiting if she stayed. For a few months, the lie held. Then came that January email campaign, the one that started this whole story. The bounce rate, the near-silent open rate, numbers that made no sense for a list of millions of active young users. JP Morgan's executives couldn't explain it away. They launched an internal investigation, digging into the database Javice had provided at closing. What they found confirmed their worst fear. The data wasn't just inaccurate, it appeared to be manufactured, built specifically to pass inspection rather than to represent real people. Ironically, Javice had spent months insisting she was protecting the privacy of her students. In reality, that excuse had been protecting the fraud. Investigators later traced the fraud back to something almost absurdly small, an $18,000 invoice from the data scientist who built the fake profiles. That single paper trail helped unravel a $175 million deal. By late 2022, JP Morgan shut Frank down entirely and fired Javice. Then the bank did something unusual for an institution that prizes discretion. It filed a very public federal lawsuit, laying out in detail how a 29-year-old founder had allegedly deceived one of the most sophisticated financial institutions on earth. The embarrassment wasn't just about the $175 million. It was about how basic the deception turned out to be, and how easily it slipped past teams of professionals whose entire job was to catch exactly this kind of thing. In April 2023, the Department of Justice and the SEC indicted Charlie Javice on charges of wire, bank, and securities fraud. She faces up to 30 years in federal prison if convicted. JP Morgan wrote off the full $175 million as a total loss. On an earnings call, Jamie Dimon, arguably the most powerful banker in the world, was forced to admit the obvious. "Let me tell you the lesson learned," he said. "Do your own due diligence." Across Wall Street, the case triggered a real shift. Banks that once accepted a founder's word on user numbers started demanding independent third-party audits before closing tech acquisitions. Investors like Apollo Global Management and Aleph, who had backed Frank early on, still walked away with the bulk of the payout before the fraud ever surfaced. The whole episode became a symbol of an era when soaring valuations let founders skip scrutiny and call it hustle. So did Charlie Javice outsmart JP Morgan? No, she didn't find a loophole or win some brilliant negotiation. She built a database of people who didn't exist and dared one of the world's biggest banks to check. For a few months, nobody did. Prestige, it turned out, was never proof of competence. And when they finally sent one simple email, the entire illusion collapsed in a single afternoon. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories like this.